Hello, everybody, and welcome to We Three People, the podcast for these people, your premium source for Don Lemon jokes. I'm your host, Javier, and we got here alongside me, as always,
Ray in the building.
What happened to ladies first?
No,
fuck that.
No.
Equality.
I'm the star of this fucking show.
I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate that. And this is Candace.
And, of course, welcome to another week's episode. Before we start, I'd love to give a shout-out to some of our fans. First and foremost, Ben.
Benji, what up?
What up, Benji?
I want to give a shout out to Travis, who always likes our Facebook posts and is always sharing our stuff, liking, commenting. We appreciate you, brother.
You the man, Travis.
This week, it wasn't too controversial, but any week that involves this new president of ours has something to talk about.
I was going to say, anytime as long as he's out there, something's going on.
Well, the biggest thing for this week is the fake news tweet, which, he's been talking about fake news for a while now, right? But this one really made shit hit the fan, in my opinion. You know which one I'm talking about?
No, which fake news tweet are you talking about?
You serious? I can't read it verbatim.
He's had so many fake news tweets.
The one that said, if you see any negative poll against me,
that's right.
It is fake news.
Right.
And you should only trust me as your source, basically.
Which is isn't that like the start of a dictatorship where you discredit the media and you call anything that you don't agree with incorrect and false?
Fascist rule, anyone?
Fascist.
Candace, you want to read your fascist article again?
We've got 17 facts about fascism.
I feel like I've already educated you all.
And number 2.
And here's a 10-page thesis on why I think fascism.
Don't worry, I'll read it to you.
And I was exactly right, so you're welcome.
You were accurate. It was very true.
I did. You do bring up a good point. When we started talking about that, it was a little bullshit. We're like, shut up, Candace. But now it's like, this is not fascism, Candace. You're being a liberal.
You guys really freaked out when I used that word.
Yeah, because I didn't know what it meant, and then when you read it, I was like, oh, that is really what he is. He's a fascist. I thought people were just saying it, but he actually is truly a fascist.
Yeah, it's starting. It's beginning, and like Ray said right here, that's the first step. The first thing that the dictators and everybody want to do, they want to take out the media. They want to take out people's ability to go, because that's where people go to watch and listen and get updates on what's going on.
Right, and anyone who opposes them is the enemy, so they villainize anyone who has anything to say that is against what they're saying or what they believe or the message that they're trying to push.
So I really want to make that the main point. We got some other stuff to talk about today, like the whole travel ban got reversed and whatnot, but this is probably one of the most terrifying things I've seen in my entire life. I've seen some pretty scary things, don't get me wrong, especially growing up in Phoenix and Maryville, but the fact that somebody is threatened by any time there's something negative said about him, and this guy has literally the power to arrest us. I mean, he has some insane power, and the fact that he says he's opposing anybody that's against what he has to say is terrifying, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, this makes us fake news. Yeah. So we are fake news.
We're more fake news than CNN.
So what I should say
fake
is
news.
We Three People, your source for fake news.
Yeah.
Can that be all the center of alternative facts, the hub? I feel like we're starting to get, am I the only one who's starting to get a little bit numb to it? Like, it's just like every day I wake up, I'm like, what did he do now? Every time I come home, I'm like, what did he do now? It's just kind of the world we live in. I'm kind of adapting, that's probably a bad thing, right? Is it bad that we adapt to this shitty president who has controversy surrounding him every day? You're like, well, that's our president.
Yes, but it isn't just about him. I mean, it's not just about him either. So yes, are we getting a little numb to him and his craziness? Yes. But we're starting to see alternative facts came from Kellyanne Conway, not from Trump. And, the Bowling Green massacre came from Kellyanne Conway. And Senate trying to silence members of the Democratic Party came from them. So it's this trickle down effect where truth and having a voice and speaking out against the president is now even just speaking out against the Republican Party, speaking out against anyone who he nominates to his cabinet is now being stopped.
Let's talk about that. So Elizabeth Warren, was that yesterday? Right? Last night she was talking about the confirmation of Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III.
Which is just like the most old-timey racist white name that you could ever, like, I was thinking last night, like, when they make the movie of this, it's going to be just hilarious.
I feel like his people were definitely like slave owners, and they would call him Master Beauregard.
Absolutely.
Master Beauregard.
Can you call him that from now on?
I'm not calling no white man master. But yeah, so she was up there and she was talking, and she was actually reciting a letter that Coretta Scott King had written, was it like 30 years ago, about
right in
Jeff,
the 80s.
Right in the 80s, about Jeff Sessions when he was going to be confirmed to be a judge, and she started reading it, and Mr. Mitch McConnell was not feeling that shit.
Which, to be fair, she did speak for about 55 minutes.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she
Wow.
was speaking for a long time, but that's pretty normal in the Senate. So she was going on for a bit, and at that point, I would admit it was a little. It wasn't going to make any difference if he got nominated or not. So I see the redundancy of what she was saying, but I think we're really making a big deal about it because it's a woman being hushed. Not looking at Candace here, I don't know if there's anything that bad about it. She was kind of just
She
going
talked
on
for
and on
55
and on.
minutes?
She's going on for 55 minutes.
And she's reading that letter that
Word for
has
word.
that's been passed around during this confirmation period of Jeff Sessions since he was trying to be confirmed, or since he was announced as a nominee.
You know what it reminds me of is that one time Candace started reading that article about the top 15 fascists. And here's what happened, guys. Here's what happened. So I actually, she was going, and then at number 7, Ray started saying, you know what, yeah, we get the point. And then I ended up cutting that out, so it seemed like it all goes fluid for like 15 of them, but we tried to shut her up halfway, but she would not shut up.
If only I
And
had the power of the
nevertheless,
Senate
I
in this room.
persisted. Oh
No,
my
but
god.
we were like, okay, we get the point, we understand, and she's like, no. And then number 8,
You will hear this.
So I
said Candace, said Elizabeth Warren.
So we tried that.
Yes.
And
Oh
then
my
she
gosh.
wait. Then she went in the hallway after they kicked her out, and she like live streamed the letter.
She sure
It was
did.
so
You
unnecessary.
live streamed the letter?
No, not me, Elizabeth Warren. But I like that you're
Oh,
comparing
yeah.
me to Elizabeth Warren. This is like the best day ever.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's not the best way. So yeah, she was kind of going on and on about it.
But guys, I don't think it's because she's a woman. I think that the problem lies in the fact that the Republican Party is trying to silence the Democratic Party. I mean, don't you see it that way?
Right. That's exactly what it is. Was that it?
You were the one who said
I
that.
thought you were gonna go on this mega rant about it.
No, I wasn't.
You seem so passionate
It's
about
not a big
Elizabeth
deal to
Warren.
you then, huh?
No, I think it's a big deal. But you said you think everyone's making a big deal out of it because she's a woman, and I'm saying I disagree.
Okay, I don't think they're hushing the Democratic Party. I don't think it's nothing. I don't think it's political at all. I think it's just it happened to be Elizabeth Warren, and she's playing her woman card.
How is she playing?
She's probably also playing the "Get Me on TV so I can run for president" in 2020.
Well, I do kind of agree with that. I sent you guys that article today saying pretty much.
The rule
As
was
much.
the rule as it was explained when I was watching Don Lemon. Don Lemon joke.
My man.
My Don Lemon joke purely consists of me saying Don Lemon's name. That's literally it. There's no punchline. It's Don Lemon's name. So I was watching CNN and they were interviewing, and they said that the rule that he used was you're not allowed to speak negatively
Yes.
of a current sitting member of the Senate.
Correct.
So that's the rule that he, enacted or whatever, put forward at the Senate.
So was she speaking negatively on somebody?
She was talking shit about Jeff Sessions, and Jeff Sessions is currently a senator.
Although he wasn't
Oh,
at the
sorry,
time
he's
that
not
the
a senator
Coretta
anymore.
Scott King
No, he wasn't.
letter was written.
You know what? Let me make a confession to you guys today. I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, and I happen to listen to one of his podcasts, the Alex Jones one, episode 911. And it's about an hour, but then there's like a 3-hour version on YouTube. So I really went deep into that, and then I went on to what's the fucking website called?
Infowars.
Infowars.com. And I got deep in there, and I just got really, really, really deep in it. Dude, I got to the point where I was fucking like, man, I got to deport myself. I don't belong in this
God.
country. I was like fucking way deep in there, and I really got a good perspective on he's not necessarily the right, but a lot of people on the right really follow him, right? I don't know, but here's the thing. I kind of like what they had to say until they got to the point where they started talking about gays and like immigrants, and obviously because I'm part of that. And I even got the perspective of how a lot of Democrats and liberals are going out there and they like to protest and they like to talk shit about the president anytime he does something stupid, but they're not really doing anything to change the narrative or actually add to the narrative. They just kind of bitch about it and they move on.
Yes.
So I left. I'm out of that sinkhole now. I'm out of the Alex Jones thing. But what I learned, at least from it, is, yeah, we're kind of just bitchy, whiny people that really don't do much about anything.
I mean, but what can we do other than bitch right now? As a citizen, it is my right to bitch, aka protest.
Right now, I think, is the key word, because
Right.
what I loved about the Elizabeth Warren thing is, because I do think that was a political party maneuver. I don't think it had anything to do with her being a woman, but I did like how now hashtag nevertheless she persisted sort of became this thing in this movement, and it kind of speaks to what I was talking about last week about just jumping on bandwagons for the sake of doing it. But when it comes to Betsy DeVos, for example, what I can do is never again vote for John McCain, and I promise you I never will.
You voted for John McCain?
Yes, I have in the past.
Wow.
Why?
Actually, okay, all right. Well, let's get into it. The first fan letter I ever wrote was to John McCain.
You wrote a fan letter to John
Why?
McCain?
The first time that he ran for president. I did, because I really, at the time, he was a maverick, he was a rogue, he was very liberal for a conservative, and everything that he spoke to at that time resonated with me. I thought he was the best guy for the job. He's a war hero. He was a good man. He's an Arizonan. He's actually not a native of Arizona, but he's in Arizona now. And he spoke to my soul. I believed in him, and I voted for him, and I wrote him a letter telling him, hey, I know I'm not your demographic. I'm, as a young Hispanic woman, am not the kind of person who votes for you, but I believe in you.
Do you respond?
He did not. Like, not even one of those, like...
Not even like where the interns sent
yeah,
the letter
right?
back?
Like, with just a stamp of his signature, he didn't. But that's okay. Like, even in that, I didn't
And at
I
that
didn't hold it
moment-
against him. Even then, he didn't write back to me, and I didn't hold it against him. He confirmed our friend Betsy, and I was like, oh, hell no, John. I'm done with you.
That's just really what it's become, because John McCain really was truly a maverick back in the day.
Yeah.
He would really, toe the party line. He just wanted to do what he thought was best for America. And now it's just strictly party.
Yeah, he really was my Bernie before there was a Bernie.
He actually was one of the first draft of the DREAM Act was him and going across the party lines with the Democrats.
Yeah.
So I completely get your point there, and I almost forgot about that. But these Republicans have become such bitches.
But now they're voting for party and not for nation.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I can do is I cannot vote for them anymore. They can lose my vote, which is the most powerful thing I have, and they've lost it.
But one off, I think McCain knows what he's doing, because he can't. What is he like? He just got reelected this past election. He's in there for the next 6 years. He's probably going to retire.
Yeah, but he needs to realize that fucking, what was it, 40 to 50, 40, shit, I don't remember the exact number. I should have. 35 to 45 around there voted blue in Arizona last election for the president.
Yeah, it was a big number, actually.
It's not usually it's like a landslide.
A big number for
Yes.
Arizona, yeah.
So he needs to realize that that's the future. Like, you know what? I'm genuinely excited about the future and what's next for the Democratic Party. I'll admit something. After my Alex Jones thing, I was talking to my wife Mercedes. Excuse me. I'm gonna leave that in, by the way.
No, do not.
Please leave in the burp.
I'm
We're
gonna leave
real
in
out
the
here.
burp. I'm a fucking
Real
man.
people
No,
burp.
stop.
Our audience
Stop.
burps.
I'm not even kidding. Do not leave that in.
You know what's gonna be funny is I'm leaving you scolding me in too.
No, you're not. Don't leave it in.
Yeah, I am.
No, you're not. Don't leave it in.
Anywho, what are you? You're infringing on my burping rights
Oh my
as
God.
a deferred action for childhood arrival.
She
of
Mitch
legal
McConnell the
presence?
fuck out of your burp just now.
Seriously.
Go stand outside and live stream that fucking belch.
So you were
Anywho.
talking to your wife, Mercedes. Shout out to Mercedes for
Shout out
allowing
to
us to
Mercedes.
record in her home. We appreciate you, Mercedes.
Who is the most amazing person, that most real person that keeps me in check every day. I'm so
yes,
thankful
if
for
you
her.
knew him, you would think she is a goddess because she's married to him.
I was talking to her and I was like, you know what? I think I feel like I think I'm a Republican, except for the fact that I support,
I'm a bleeding heart liberal.
except for the fact that I support people and I feel like women should have the right to have their own abortions. Gay people should be allowed to be married and have the same rights as us. Hispanic, we should need a clear path of citizenship. and just more the
So socially, you're very liberal.
socially, but the
Right.
economics of everything and like America first mentality. I'm all about that shit, dude. I'm the most patriotic guy you ever
So
fucking
economically, you are more conservative. you think?
Absolutely.
So you believe in trickle down economics.
meet. I don't know what that is.
So if so, the Republican belief is trickle down economics. So that means if you give tax breaks to the wealthy or the business owner, that they will have more money, which will allow them to hire more people.
That sounds right to me.
So
Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Which is not right. So
That
let's
does
talk.
not sound right
let's
to me
let's
either.
let me break this down for you because I love this argument.
Go ahead.
So you are a business owner, correct?
I am.
So you made $100,000.
Yes.
You employ one person who handles all of your transactions, whatever. They're your assistant, right?
Sure. I pay him $25,000 a year.
You're able to make $100,000 comfortably with that one person.
and I pay a 30% tax on that.
Right, and you pay a 30% tax. So if you're a business owner and they cut your tax in half,
Shit, that's
now
15 grand more
Now
in
you
my
have
pocket.
15 grand more. Are you going to hire another person?
No, but I'm gonna go spend
Exactly.
No, you're not.
Exactly.
No, you're not.
Exactly. Or you're not going to
Right.
spend it. You're going to save because you're a wealthy person.
And
Okay.
that's how you continue to build
All right,
your wealth. And that's
Exactly.
how
Fine.
other people don't
So
get
anyways-
jobs and stay poor.
it. Yeah. So then eventually after this conversation, my wife is like, "No, you're not Republican. You're a fucking Democrat." Like
You're like, God damn, if Alex Jones isn't convincing.
I was like, "You're the most." She's like, "You're the most fucking Democrat ever." Like, oh, I guess you're right. So my biggest issue with the Republican Party is they're so entwined with religion, and religion is a huge part of their practices. And the only reason they don't believe gays should be allowed to have the same rights in marriage with than than heterosexuals is this religion, and the abortion is religion. Everything's evolved around religion. When our founding fathers made it very clear, there's a clear difference between state and religion. But for some reason, Republicans have entwined it into their core principles. I found a lot of great articles which that basically illustrated that a lot of people feel that religion has ruined their Republican Party.
Well, and I would say that on the opposite end, like the Democrats sort of being, I guess, the non-religious party. You mentioned earlier that the biggest Democrats are necessarily not patriotic people. I
Speaking
think
of the
that
Patriots, fuck Tom Brady. Go ahead. Sorry.
Fuck you, Tom Brady.
You were mid-roll. Sorry. I just had to get that out. Fuck that guy.
All right, well, fuck Tom Brady. And I don't think that because you are liberal-minded that means you can't be a patriot. I don't think that means that you can't be a person of faith. I consider myself to be a person of faith. I don't think that impugns on my ideas of... Actually, I think that because I'm a person of faith and because I believe in God's love, that's why I'm a liberal. That's why I believe in, civil rights for everyone. So I think that you're kind of generalizing that if you're a Republican, that you're religious. A lot of people who are Republicans aren't religious. They vote that way
Yeah,
because
they are.
they're conservative. Not all of them, Javi.
Who isn't?
Lots of people vote that way
Okay,
because
maybe not the people that
was
vote.
Is Donald Trump a good religious
No, but he
person?
sure
Of
played that
course
fucking
not.
card
Of course
the
not.
To his base.
Yeah, he is like,
The base of the Republican
Bible
Party.
is my favorite book.
Right.
Oh, I love this part of the Bible.
But there are a lot of men like him who reap the tax benefits,
Absolutely.
but don't give a crap about the Bible or about religion or definitely not about God's love.
Religion is necessary because it gives people a fundamental like just ethics and values. It's hard to sit down and come up with what are my ethics and values in life. It's very hard to do that. But people pick up religion.
Is
because
it
it's
hard
easy.
to do that?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
I don't
Is it
think
hard
so.
to know what's good and what's like?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure I could easily figure out if I didn't have the Bible that I'm not supposed to kill people.
No, I'm not talking about killing people
Or-
So
taking
this
it
is
to
a
the
different
extreme.
conversation, though. Like religion, we're talking about religion, but
Well, my
religion
point
and
was
politics,
before I was
that's a
interrupted
different.
is that if you are going to be religious, that's cool, but it shouldn't be affiliated with your political party at all.
Should not be.
Absolutely, not whatsoever.
I think it can guide your principles, like your mindset. Like you can believe what you want, and you can let your beliefs change your mindset on certain issues. But when it comes down to it, your mindset, your beliefs aren't everyone's beliefs, so you can't place that on everyone. I think that's the difference between Republicans and Democrats, because Democrats know it is not my job to tell you what to do based on what I think is right.
Correct.
Whereas Republicans are like, this is what's right because I believe it's right, and you need to do what I believe
God
is right.
says it's right.
Right.
True or
But
not true?
I'm saying that's a generality. I think that not all Republicans, and what I'm trying to explain to you is there's a lot of Republicans like Trump who aren't religious but who benefit from the tax breaks that the Republican Party is going to give them. That was my point with that. I also think that what we believe is that our personal beliefs dictate what we do, and that we can't impose those beliefs on other people, right? So, for instance, we talked about abortion, and I said that I considered having an abortion. I've never actually had an abortion. I wouldn't have an abortion, but I believe in a woman's right to choose, right?
Right.
Yep.
So if I say I don't believe in it, because actually I could never do it. I'm telling you right now, I could never do it. I don't judge people who would or who have, but I could never do it. But just because I could never do it doesn't mean that I can say to you, you can never do it. Exactly. And so the point is that what happens is it creates almost an intellectual enslavement by saying you have to do what I say because this is what I believe. So I'm telling you what to believe, and I'm telling you what you can do with your body. That's what we're against. So I think it goes beyond religion, and it goes to a place where people believe that they're allowed to tell you how to behave and how to act. It's why I'm so upset about what happened to Senator Warren, because we're moving to a point where Trump and the entire Republican Party have gone to a place where they're saying, I'm going to tell you what to believe, I'm going to tell you how to act, I'm going to tell you what to do with your bodies. It's such a bigger picture.
I think that's the shit that fires me up when somebody tells me what to not do, what I can't do. That's like one of the core values of being a Republican, because I'm a Republican for a few minutes now, is country first, and the government should be helping the people, right? And basically, government can't be interfering with your life, can't tell you what to do.
Less government.
Exactly, less government. And this guy's going and telling you not to fucking listen to the media. Like, isn't that just going to sound like a red alert? Like, holy shit, this guy's telling me what to think now? Like, this is not right. But people are eating that shit up.
Because Americans are dumb, which we talked about before. And I had said last week or maybe the week before that I felt like people had to be more educated. And you guys said, no, Candace, people don't have time for that. No, Candace.
We said no.
We can't expect that.
We said people need to be more educated. We said that they're not going to be.
But you said they don't have time because they have families and they have lives.
They shouldn't, and they're not going to.
But they can be.
No,
so
they can be, and they should be, but they won't.
But here's the thing: I watched the Super Bowl this weekend, and
Oh my
everybody
gosh.
knew everything about it. Everybody knew numbers and yards and teams and players.
That's bullshit. You know what? They Googled it a few minutes before they got there.
No, stop! You guys don't play fantasy football. You don't know. Come on, you.
Maybe they should make politics like fantasy football.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
if
how many
I could
people
draft a senator.
How many people can speak sports to one
votes they
another,
get?
but
Based on how
can't
many
speak
votes they get?
politics?
How many money they get from the NRA?
This is kind of how it goes. I mean, a lot of folks are not interested in politics. It's not really fun. It's a lot of times over a lot of people's head. It's confusing.
But that's why they're being manipulated, and that's why when Trump's saying this is fake news, they believe it.
Agreed.
I think Trump genuinely wants to make America better.
What?
I think Trump might be.
What has happened? You've been.
I'm telling you, I'm about to call
Infowars for hours.
I'm about to call ice on myself. That's how dedicated I am. I think he wants to make America great again because he wants to be able to be remembered as a person that made America great again. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's doing it for America. I think he's doing it for himself.
Right.
I think he's in love with the idea of him being the reason why things are better, not to genuinely make things better.
Being known as the best president ever, having the highest. And I'm telling you, over these next 4 years, as his approval ratings continue to decline, he is going to get more and more and more erratic. These tweets, you think the tweets now are bad? Just wait till he's got like a 30% approval rating or a 20% approval rating.
Noticing your iPad is just this nice steady flow of Trump tweets.
It's all, I'm on his page right now. Bro. I mean, I will say that it's a fantastic Twitter page. It's so entertaining.
It is very good. He should monetize the Twitter like the World Star Twitters do. You know, the Black
He should.
Twitter.
I mean, if he can get some, he's got a ton of retweets. If there's money on retweets.
I don't know why people like him so much.
He's a straight shooter. He tells the truth. There's no bullshit. He speaks. He also. I mean, I'm not gonna. We did say that America. He tells the truth. He says what he's feeling. He speaks his mind.
And it's not right.
Which is honest.
You know,
it's not a lie. What he's believing, what he thinks is true. That's honest.
You know, the crazy thing is, I read an article that the first one or two seasons of The Apprentice actually had great ratings, but the seasons after that, the executives would try to tell him that things weren't going as great, and he would not hear it. He in his head would tell people, yeah, they have one of the best ratings, they're number one in the top ratings, but it turns out he was like number 57 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So this guy has always been living in denial his entire, with Apprentice, with its ratings, with even now,
even
living in denial.
Even his approval ratings, he does it now.
So you guys make him sound like he's sort of this dumb guy who's sort of fumbling along and tweeting and just kind of doing everything he wants to do impulsively.
Yep. This isn't
You don't believe that this is all part of a bigger plan? You don't think he's purposely trying to divide the country?
So he's like, I'm going to be a big old man pussy on Twitter and get offended about everything. And then I'm going to divide everybody.
I don't think that's his plan. So I think he is literally like a not very smart person.
He's a big man
even the way he speaks is it's very basic. It's very kindergarten. Many people can understand it. Almost everyone can understand it. He repeats himself over and over and over again. I just don't think he's very smart. He's not a smart guy.
It wouldn't be that bad if he wasn't on fucking Twitter all day responding to useless shit. It was actually...
I think you guys underestimate
Ivanka's
him.
line getting kicked out of Nordstrom.
Oh, I read the perfect response to that. I think it's all I have to say is that's what a dad would say, not what a president of the United States would say. It is what a dad would say. So I'm not faulting the guy for saying that.
Did you see Barack go on Twitter when they got pictures of Malia smoking that joint at the concert and dancing like a white woman?
I'm sure he defended her in private, but he didn't fucking do that.
Exactly.
So anyways, I'm a Republican now, guys, so sorry.
I'm into it. We need that other side of.
We
really need that opposing view on the podcast.
Like, I feel like I'm a Republican except for this.
And economically, I'm definitely a Republican. Oh wait, that's what that is. I'm not a
Republican. Never mind.
That's what it means.
Really, guys, how are we gonna make this fucking place? We're not. What are we doing to improve? We help Ben out. Ben, thank you. We appreciate it. But how do we get this to the next level?
I think what the Democratic Party, or what, not necessarily the Democratic Party, what Americans are doing right now by going out there and protesting and holding marches and showing up at senators and House Representative members' doors and their offices and telling them how exactly they feel, writing those letters, making those phone calls. I feel like it definitely makes a difference. I think a prime example is what happened to Betsy DeVos. Was that yesterday or today? Every day is the same to me.
Right.
Where she had to, for the first time in history, have the vice president be the tie-breaking vote. There were 2 Republican senators who defected and went and voted against her. That is a great thing.
Those guys.
Huh?
Who was it?
I think it was someone in Maine and some other state. Not important where they're from, but the importance is that folks were definitely getting to them and getting to their ear. These are human beings as well, so they're thinking about re-election. You know why? Because that's what pays their bills.
But it's so stupid.
They don't want to lose their job.
It's politics because she's clearly not qualified, like
at
100%.
all.
That's exactly it. They're voting for their party over their nation. You don't think those 2 voted for because of their conscience?
Conscience. Yep.
Consciousness.
I don't know. What's the plural of
consciousness?
No.
There's
consciousness.
Conscience.
I think it's like moose. Like conscious. There's not.
You don't think they voted
moose,
their conscience?
Moose lambs.
Yeah, conscience. That's right.
Just see Sean
Moose
Spicer?
lamb. Moose lamb.
Right.
I heard the White House really
Edit
didn't
that.
like the fact that it was a female that did Sean Spicer.
I heard that Trump hated the fact that Melissa McCarthy did such a good Sean Spicer.
It was really good.
It was really good.
Sean Spicer laughed it off. He did an interview like the next day. He's like, "Oh, it's funny. She could probably yell a little bit less or whatever." But I heard in the background, Trump was like pissed about it. So pissed that he's looking to hire a new director of communications.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm glad he's realizing it's making him look dumb. Even
not,
Kellyanne Conway.
Yeah, not even just him. Like Trump, it makes himself look dumb enough. Then you got Sean Spicer out there yelling at the media, and you got Kellyanne Conway, fucking the Secretary of Spin, fucking up the spin, making up terrorist attacks.
That was kind of awesome, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Did you not know about the Bowling Green massacre? Bitch, where? Bitch, when?
What happened was
it's almost unreal. It gets so
the media
ridiculous.
doesn't cover this shit.
Fake news. Oh man.
Right. So fake news. Trump talked about the media not covering some of the attacks and trying to downplay attacks, none of which could be substantiated. What do you guys think about that?
Maybe, maybe you're right, Javier. Maybe Trump is smart. Were you saying that he's smart? Is it Candace?
I'm saying he's.
Oh, you're saying he's Candace. Maybe you're right. Maybe
I'm saying he's smart.
Maybe he is trying to change the narrative, because I was watching CNN and all day today they were like just spending time defending themselves, like, oh no, we do talk about terrorist attacks all over the world, and they're like showing clips of old terrorist attacks.
And while they're doing that, what's
it.
happening? They're not reporting on
They're
the
not
things
reporting on the
he's
stupid
really
shit he
doing.
does.
I think we're underestimating him, guys. I think he's smart.
Here's the deal. Okay, he media on the TV is dying. Like CNN on their top show gets like 2-3 million views. Fox, their top show, gets like 5 million views.
That's
Do you
true.
know how many people downloaded Joe Rogan's podcast last month?
How many?
95 million.
Jesus Christ.
And that's just on fucking iTunes and shit. On YouTube, he's getting even more. Like, he averages like 300 to 500, I think,
That's
views
true.
per shit.
How many followers does Trump have versus CNN?
Sorry, Ray, I'm 24 years old, and I've always hated watching news. I've never sat down and fixed a channel to CNN. I think that's an old, dying medium. I think, to quote my man Gary Vaynerchuk, TV is what radio was when TV first came out. It is a dying thing, and media kind of shot themselves in the foot because they're so focused on clickbait ads and headlines and shit like that they're losing their credibility. So I think even though Trump is being stupid and as fucking saying, only listen to me, but I think the media is kind of fucking things up. And I think the new medium of news sources, unfortunately, is not something that's as credited. Like, anybody can pick up a podcast and start making one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly.
Obviously, like, what the hell we're doing. But I really do think it's a dying breed, and I think TV, I don't know what they're going to do to redeem themselves.
Yeah, so where do people get their news from? They just get it on the internet? Where do you get your news
Social
from?
media, I would say. Most people.
I go on Reddit, where people, it's unfiltered, and it's all both sides.
Yeah, well,
But where
I follow...
where are you getting articles? Are you reading
they're
articles, or
online.
what are you reading?
I think they're online.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess online is the future. Anything associated with podcasts, internet, Google, fucking.
But doesn't that still link you to like a traditional website, traditional news outlet like
Right.
CNN or
Washington
yeah,
Post,
MSNBC
New
or
York
something like that?
Times.
Then what's the future then? I don't know.
I think people just watch. I
Just
think you're right.
online
People
media.
watch less TV, but I think there's still some major mainstays in the media, in the press,
Just online.
that are never going to go anywhere. I think people need to kind of sort out the bullshit from the real news and focus on those people who are giving them the news.
What makes a Trumper actually pick up and read not BuzzFeed? BuzzFeed's trash. So, like, what makes them actually pick up a negative poll that might be done on CNN? They're not going to do it because their president told them not to.
That's true.
Just like you wouldn't read Fox News, though.
I do.
Yeah,
You
no.
do now.
Yeah.
But you didn't before.
I did not even click on their
You
link,
didn't
you're
the
right.
8 years Obama was president. Nor did I.
Which is a major problem. I feel like
is.
do other countries have these issues? In Great Britain, don't they just have like the BBC, and the BBC's role is to not be
Right.
partisan,
Right.
just give the news.
Dude, literally, I think like the only other British news outlets I've seen are like trash. Like BBC's the main one.
Everyone watches BBC. Everyone gets the same news, and it's not altered or adjusted
It's just
or
news.
biased. It's
It's
just
like,
news. This
what's
is
it?
they're like this is
Al-
what happened.
Yeah, maybe we need that, but that shit's not gonna happen because we have a two-party system that's fucking everything up.
Well, it needs to just be that people need to be more educated and they need to research and they need to see both sides and they need to read articles that lean left and articles that lean right. But I think it goes back to what I was saying before about Trump being a genius because he knows that people are getting their news from social media. So he's so vocal on social media, and what he's doing is he's saying, look here, look here, look here. It's like a card trick. Right? You distract the people so that you can do other things because they're so focused at looking at you, they're not watching what you're doing with your hands.
Yeah, there was a guy when I went to New York one time in Times Square, and he had these 3 cards, and he kept like moving them around. You had to find the one that had the penny under it.
That's what Trump's doing. It's a card trick, and he's tricking us, he's fooling us, and Lord knows what he really has planned. I think we're underestimating him.
One thing I do like though is that he is holding the media accountable, and I feel like they are starting to really push truth. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and like I said last episode, it is like a cancer that's gonna ultimately help us. I'm glad the media's
Yeah.
more accountable.
Yeah.
I'm glad everything's getting better.
They're like going out of their way to be honest now.
Yeah.
Like, have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like, everything is like, this is a fact. Like, this is checked. Everything is PolitiFact. They have fact checkers for everything.
Which is crazy because that dude bullshitted his way through the presidency.
Right. Where were you at fucking 6 months ago,
Oh,
assholes?
they were there, but nobody cared. Ultimately, people are going to believe what they want to believe, though.
You know what, Candace? I don't think it's Trump. I think who's behind all of this might be my Alex Jones talking, is Steve Bannon.
You think?
I really do think that guy's he's smart.
He is smart.
That guy's fucking.
He had that entire media company, Breitbart, based off a niche audience that he knew existed and grew it to massive levels.
I agree with you. I think Trump's smarter than you give him credit for, but I do believe that Bannon is in the background calling
smart.
a lot of shots.
He used the fucking media as this bitch in this fucking presidential election. I'm sure sometimes he's like, I'm gonna fucking tweet this and they're gonna talk about this for the next 5 days and I'm gonna be in front of people's faces. Boom. But I'm pretty sure he's smart in that way.
He did recognize that almost instantly during the campaign.
Yep. But I don't know, with this stuff, I think he's just doing anything to make him look good to his audience. And I think Steve Bannon is using him in ways to forward the agenda. Unfortunately for us brown people, it's the white nationalist agenda.
Right. I mean, that New York Times article basically spelled it out when Trump signed that executive order putting Steve Bannon in the National Security Council without him even knowing.
So if everyone's doing just what they think and doing and saying just what they think the American people want to hear, and they're doing and saying what they think is going to get them reelected, who's really fighting for us, the American people? If Trump's just doing things to get votes and the Senate, they're just making decisions to get votes, and even Elizabeth Warren is just coming against Sessions to get votes. Who's fighting for us? Does anyone care about the American people on either side?
I think to answer that question, we need to redefine what American people means. I think the people that are older, over 40, over 50, which are make up a large population.
Can you go to like 60, 70 for older?
40? I'm going to have to include even you, Candace.
We said 40 or 50.
Well,
I'm not 40.
You're woke as fuck, though. So you don't count.
You woke.
You're woke.
You're not a normie.
Okay, I'll say 40 plus. You're not there, right?
What is?
Like
Go
50.
make your point.
I think we need to redefine what an American is. An American, you guys, I mean, I'm pointing at you, Ray. You guys are considered Americans now. Congratulations, after fucking 50 years, 100 years of Civil War.
Black people?
Yeah, they're considered American. I don't think you can go to... It doesn't matter. They consider them American. I think we need to redefine what an American means. Instead of the first thought of people around the world is a white, blonde hair, blue eye, or a black man, we need to redefine American as being a gay man, being a brown man. Because I don't think people over 50 don't consider that American. But I have not met somebody under 25 that wasn't raised by a dumb religious conservative that... that believe that they're the minority now. People in my age group, they're the minority.
I was raised by conservative religious parents.
Yeah, but you're
and
woke
you just
as
said
fuck.
I'm woke as fuck.
You are woke as fuck.
So
why are you woke?
I think it is people under 40. I think you gave the bar too low because younger people are definitely
under 40.
Yeah.
They're definitely a lot more liberal. They're definitely more socially liberal anyway.
Exactly. And we are like, if the people actually fucking voted and it was all Americans under 40 for like these gay rights, like even legalizing weed, all this shit would be happening. But one, they don't vote, and two, everybody over 50, they're so stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
That this is what's gonna happen.
But my question was, who's fighting for us? Fighting for America, the soul of this nation. Who's fighting for that?
Nobody is
if it's
fighting
not our
for
president
us.
and it's not
No,
our
here's the
senators.
thing. Okay, my point was, people over 50, half people fighting for their rights. Everybody on the fucking Senate. Nobody in our woke group, where the minority is like them, there's nobody doing that. Because
Bernie.
growing up, okay, there's a small group. There's a
some-
small group
Come on.
over 50.
You say a majority of the
Check this out.
Democrats.
I don't
are,
think Bernie does it for the votes.
no,
Elizabeth
no.
Warren, I'll say maybe, but Bernie,
I was
I
going to
think
say there's a small group of older folks that were during the hippie era who are very, very woke as fuck.
Elizabeth Warren is like the definition. I bet back in her day she was like a super hippie.
One of the greatest mentors I've ever had in my life, Patrick Neely, who's now, I think, 69, 70, 71, is in that generation. There's a small group of those people that are actually woke because they were all about, all that stuff. And they smoked a lot of weed back in the day. That's
Weed makes you woke.
but
it makes you woke.
it's growing up. It wasn't popular to say I want to become a politician. It's not an ambition nowadays for our youth to actually say, you know what, I want to go be a senator. I want to be a governor. I want to go and represent. Only a very small amount of people do that. And there's not enough people who, we're all woke. This generation is out there and we all believe for these things. But we're being declassified by these people over 50. Now they're just crazy liberals, and listen to them. And nobody's actually stepping up and actually using the system. They say, fuck the system. I don't want to be a senator. I want to be nothing. But we need people like that to stand up.
Mm-hmm. I really like what you said, that people that are younger have a different definition of what an American is, because you're right. I mean, 40, 50 years ago, I would not have been considered American. I didn't have the same rights as all Americans. Therefore, I am not an American. Just like, homosexuals didn't have the right to get married, so technically they were not true full Americans. And I think younger people, you're right, have this view, because they've seen on TV, they grew up with this, right? I've seen gay people on TV, I've seen black, white, whatever on TV, and those are all Americans, and they deserve the same rights.
I'm even going to admit this, because I didn't grow up with very much Muslims. I didn't see very many Muslims on TV. Even me and my core beliefs, if I really am honest with myself, it's still uncomfortable for me to consider Muslims Americans. It's really radical to say that. I know that.
Yeah, it is.
But because of the way I grew up, I know I can, but I sense it's a wrong thought to have, and I work on it and say, that's so stupid. Why are you thinking that way? But can you imagine those people that don't actually have that capacity to say, why am I thinking this? This is dumb. This is just because I didn't see it growing up. It's not true. Just like it's really wrong for me to think like that. But that's something that's in my head.
Yeah.
That I needed, that's something. It's like a filter that goes through my head. I see Ray, yeah, he's American. I see you, he's American. I see me, even though I'm not a citizen, yeah, I'm fucking American.
Right.
But if I meet a Muslim, I need a filter. Like, okay, oh no, you're being dumb. Because I grew up with the fucking wars happening on the news. Like, I grew up with 2001, 9/11. Like, that shit was, as a fucking kid, people were telling me the terrorists are Muslims. That's what I grew up watching.
That makes sense.
So that's why every time I meet a Muslim,
that's
that's the first thing that pops in my head.
Okay.
Oh man, are you a terrorist? No. And then I have to say, Javier, that's so stupid. Why are you thinking like that?
Right.
I'm sure that filter will leave one day, but that's something that I acknowledge I have.
But that makes sense for your age group and because I don't feel that way at all.
Yeah, I was fucking 11. I was 9 years old in 4th grade. Or 3rd grade when the fucking terrorist attacks happened.
My
and then Fox News was fucking showing pictures of Osama bin Laden, was this Muslim brown guy with a beard and that. So in my head, that's what imprinted. So now,
and then for almost a decade after that, it was nothing but wars and bad brown people.
And that's when I was young. So that shit imprinted with me, which is why it's a
sense.
filter I have when I meet a Muslim.
But I mean, you had asked earlier, how are you woke? Because I was raised with really religious,
You're
really
woke
conservative parents.
As fuck.
But I will say, and I have to give, thank you. I have to give a quick shout out to the teachers that I had. And Javi, we grew up in the same, well, not during the same time, of course, but in the same school district. And I would say that these teachers that we had, especially like in the inner city, working at these sort of poorer schools, I had a lot of really cool, really liberal teachers who were so influential in my life. And now that I look back, I go, oh my gosh, so much of what I think and believe was because of what these teachers sort of instilled in me. So quick shout out to Mr. Ostapuk, Mr. Elting, Mrs. Bruce. They're like so dope. And I think about them all the time.
They're all dead.
No, I think all the time, like, what does Mr. Ostapuk think about Mr. Trump? Like, he must be so angry.
She has a great point. If it wasn't for the great teachers in my life, like Miss Rubel, it's a normal
Yeah,
name.
see?
I had a Mrs. Sparta. I had nobody in elementary school. I think it was all in high school. Yeah. Miss Alonzo, Mr. Yancey, just a bunch of great teachers that really are like, guys, you need to question everything is something that I learned in high school. And I live that to every day. Even if it's fucking CNN or somebody on my side, I'm going to question what you're saying and I'm going to research. And I don't think people do that. Because I think, speaking about generations, the older generation was taught to just listen to what the news told you, what the president told you, and don't question it.
Sure, yeah.
In our generation, we question everything.
Why is that? Where did that start?
I think it's with the whole... I learned that in science class, actually. To test every...
The hypothesis and experiment.
I don't know. What, do you question everything?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, not everything, but, I'm a little skeptical. I think everybody has a little bit of skepticism.
But they don't, because they listen to what the president says and they just go with it.
But I think they're skeptical too. People believe what they want to believe, right? Those people who believe the president, everything he says, that's because they're skeptical of the media. So Trump tweeted the other day that, he's more truthful per a poll from, let's see, Emerson College poll, whoever the fuck that is, said that the administration is considered truthful by 49% of registered voters and untruthful by 48%, while the media is considered by registered voters at 53%. So I feel like this still goes back to the fact that he's not very smart, because they said that registered voters are weary of the media at 53%, and they're weary of him at 48%. That's basically
First of all, that's all bullshit, because are they actually touching base with everybody that's voted, or just the people that are still involved?
Statistically.
No, actually, I don't know if that's true, because I know a lot of Trump supporters who still support him. They have not turned their backs on him. They still believe in him. They still believe he's trying to make America great again.
Do they? Are they still on the side? I wonder every day. I don't know too many Trump supporters. I don't get to interact with them as much as I would love to. I really wonder how they're feeling about this first. How long has he been in office? 21 days? It has not been very long. And he has made a mockery of America, and I want to know if they feel the same way.
No, they don't.
Really? How they feel like the Muslim ban is a good thing?
Yes. Do you watch Bill O'Reilly?
They feel like that whole debacle was a good thing?
Yes, they feel like it was a good thing. They feel like Trump was trying to do the best thing for America. He was trying to save American lives. And us stupid bleeding heart liberals just want to let everyone in. And we just want to, let America go to shambles because we just can't say no to anyone. Yes, they still believe him.
They like his cabinet picks?
Yes. They're defending everything he's doing. They're defending Kellyanne Conway. Oh, she meant the, incident, not the massacre. Yes, guys, they're still defending them.
That is wild.
And Trump is creating an alternative truth, and people are believing it. They're eating it up.
Guys, we
smart.
We defended Obama, anything he did as well.
But we had legitimate reasons and facts behind the things that he did.
It's not the same. And Obama wasn't trying to divide the nation. Now, I'm not saying he didn't do that, because obviously he did. He allowed Trump to even be possible, but that's not what he was trying to do.
I really, really hope that all of this protest and these marches and this new sense of activism really gets people motivated to go to the polls in the midterm elections and vote out these awful, awful people who continue to vote just party lines. And they need to. It's okay if you're a Republican. It's fine. Be a Republican. Believe what you want to believe. But ultimately, your goal is to do what's right. Especially if you're a senator, your goal is to do what's right for all Americans. Right. Not just party lines. So vote out those motherfuckers who will only vote for party lines.
Ray, my hope is that people are actually going to get motivated and become politicians, not just go protest and vote. I hope this really motivates people to go out there and realize that we need people out there that are going to be part of the system. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it sucks. It sucks to go to those damn meetings. Like, shout out to my boy Ruben Gallegos, who is out there, and he's a young guy like us. He's Democrat too. He's for us, everything we're about. But he actually, he's a veteran, so he's living off that. And he went and fucking ran for congressman. He's a congressman now. He's in the fucking system making change.
You guys feel like that's something you want to do?
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that as well. I told myself when I was younger I was going to be a mayor, but I've done so much stupid shit in my life that I can't run for any office, because that's all going to come out. I tweeted some stupid shit, and I can only imagine me running for office and then the news just running down my timeline from 2008 of the stupid shit I said.
I feel like this podcast eliminates me from ever being able to do that. 100%. So you can just pull up clips of me being like, oh, I wanted to have an abortion on YouTube. And that's the end of my political career.
Yeah, I can't.
But I have always wanted to do that too. I wanted to go to school in DC, and I always wanted to be involved in politics.
So for folks like us who will not be running for office.
Fuck that. Don't count me out.
Oh, okay. So for folks like me and Candace who will not be running for office.
Who have recorded these podcasts and published them.
Who have impeached ourselves before we were able to run for office.
I didn't go fucking party from 20 to 25 like you guys
You can do it. Hey, man.
I didn't.
More power to you. I definitely partied. I got some pictures of me out there with my dick out.
I've seen
so
them,
I
bro.
cannot run for office.
RayGotDickPics.com.
RayGotDickPics.com.
Look it up. It is not pretty.
This is taking a turn.
Very clear. No. Crystal clear and just high definition camera. No, so yeah, I definitely can. So what do folks like us, me and Candace, who are not looking to run, what do we do to get more involved and try and change what's going on?
As a 10-minute Republican, what I recommend you to do is not be so on one side all the time. consider both options, really try to understand what the other side is thinking, even though it goes against what you believe and stand for. I'd like to remind you guys, during the Civil War with Abraham Lincoln, he had a fucking crazy ass fucking party. Have you guys ever read a book about Lincoln? And how divided fucking Congress was?
We like politics. We're not 10-minute Republicans. We've always... Dre and I have both always...
You guys need to, okay, before we end this podcast...
Tell me more about Lincoln.
I want to tell...
Please educate us.
Well, you guys know about the Congress that was fucking divided and he was not able to get shit done. And he fucking figured out a way because he made it work for both parties. Let me ask you guys something.
Well, did he really figure out a way to the country go to war? But the Emancipation Proclamation.
We're sitting down with you today.
The Emancipation Proclamation ended the Civil War.
Yes, and he was able to do that, and the Congress didn't want to do that.
Right.
And he was able to fucking figure out a way with both
I would
parties.
argue the nation never healed, but you know.
That's bull. People like you will never understand that. We need action. Stop looking at Ray. We need action.
This is why we like to see each other.
It's going to need extreme action in order to get shit done.
It will need extreme action. And what I feel like the only way to fix this problem is to really remove and blow the whole system up.
What would have Clinton done differently than Trump? Would there actually been any change, or is it going to be another 4 years of...
It'd been another 4 years of the same...
The right side fighting and bickering and fucking talking shit about her behind her back.
It'd been the same exact shit.
At least there's change. So I wanted to ask you guys before we end this
Maybe
podcast.
he is blowing up the system. Maybe this is a good thing.
So I want you to say one good thing about Trump and what he's done in the 21 days in office. Mr. Ray Anthony Hines. So we just talked about the Civil War.
He has empowered and emboldened and forced people to become more active in the political system, to seek out change, to pay attention to what's going on, which is a fantastic thing. You think about how many people voted in the last election. It was 64 million to 65 million or something. So 120, 130 million people. There's 300 million people in America. Majority of Americans did not vote. Majority of Americans never vote. And I think that this is going to be a changing of the country, his presence, to make people want to be more involved and want change and want better lives for themselves through the government.
Absolutely, I agree. I think he created a counterculture where people now do want to be more educated. They do want to seek out the facts. I think, Javi, they do want to see both sides. I think that is part of the movement, is trying to understand. I think the first step is to sort of be angry, but then the second step is to try to be more educated.
Sorry, CG, you need to give a different answer.
No, that's the only thing that's come good out of a Trump presidency.
You guys are saying... The only good thing that's ever come out of him is that people are opposing him and they're uniting people.
We're allowed to not like the things he's doing. We're allowed to say he hasn't done anything good.
You want me to find policy that I like?
Like, I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to create something because you want to hear it.
Work with both sides.
That doesn't mean that I agree with their side.
But he's not doing that.
Or I give accolades to what they're doing.
We need to be better than him.
Right. That's what we're saying.
What you need to do, though, like
you're pointing your finger at me like Jan Brewer did Obama.
Because you're 10 minutes of being a Republican and I was wearing on me. Like,
excuse me, 12 minutes now.
What we need to do is we need to open our minds. We need to see both sides. But that doesn't mean that I have to go, oh, well, you did a good job on this and pat you on the back for something that I think is stupid.
But fucking in your mind, at least don't hate him. He's your president of your country and you should respect that.
That does not mean I have to say something good that he
I don't respect him. I respect the office of the presidency, but I do not respect him as a man.
Absolutely.
If they said, hey, Javier, if you would like to become a citizen of the United States, we need to come and meet with Trump and just say good things about him.
You can just turn on respect and turn it off like that?
You're going to pull a Steve Harvey in his office?
I would do a Steve Harvey to get my citizenship because I love this country that much.
If he does something good, if he does something that helps many, many Americans, I will shout him out 100%.
But you can't force us.
He has not done one thing since he's been in office that I know of. Please educate me. Send us responses. Hit us up on @WeThreeThePeople on Twitter. Let me know what he's done.
Name one thing for each of us. Name 3 things. Go.
3 things?
Yes, one for each of us.
Say one thing.
I like that.
I like that he hasn't repealed DACA. like he's taking his time.
Let me think about that one. Well, that's it for we.
No, not
I will say that I don't mind his Supreme Court pick. Not so bad.
There you go.
That guy Gorsuch, super smart. He's a Rhodes Scholar. Yeah, he's a conservative, but that's okay. You can be a conservative, it's fine. As long as you follow the rule of law in Supreme Court, he seems like he'll be a good judge.
I'm with you too. I don't like any policies yet, right? But I like that he's redefining what it means to be a politician.
Such a Republican now. Dre, what are we gonna do with this guy?
14 minutes.
Ray, what are we gonna do with this guy?
I like that he has redefined what it means to be a politician, and
yes,
and
more.
it's not just people that I know he's obviously lobbying interests in Wall Street and shit like that, but it's not just like a fucking NASCAR shoot where you have the logos of who's fucking giving you money and who you vote for, and you don't use your conscience to vote. Even though he's not the best person to do it, I hope people use his example. Is he not doing that? Yeah, I'm sure he is, but he's redefining what it means to be a fucking president.
No, I definitely agree with that because I think Americans in general are sick of Washington and all the fighting and the lack of action. Like there's nothing that happens. Nothing goes down in Washington. There's just bickering the whole time. And that's why Bernie Sanders was so popular. That's why Trump is so popular. That's why Hillary was so unpopular because she was just more of the same.
It was exactly.
She said, what I'm going to do, my platform is more Barack Obama. And people are like, Barack is cool, but we want change. We want radical change. We want things that are going to make our lives better. We want to feel like we're being shitted on by the government.
And I think this wraps it up. We have a lot of shade looks around the room now. I'm pretty sure we're not going to be talking to each other for the next few days. Thank you guys for listening. Please check us out on Twitter at We3People. And we are also on Facebook where fucking Ray drops the hottest memes of the year there. Where can
meme game strong
at We3People at Facebook.
Yeah, at We3People.
At We3People, and of course, we appreciate all the feedback and the reviews. If you're listening to this on iTunes, please give us a 5-star one. Heck, check us out. You know, I find it funny, guys, that there's 3 hosts, and if you check out our reviews, it's fucking 3 reviews, the 5-star reviews.
They're not. They're not all us.
I've never.
Add another one.
They're not all us.
Can we add something so it's not? It's so obvious.
God.
There's like 3 5-star reviews.
Give us a like. Give us a review.
If you're listening to this
follow
on
us.
YouTube, please subscribe and like. Listen, we're at 30 views a fucking week right now. Right? We gotta push this. Let's get going. I'm pumped up. I'll let you guys know how my life as a Republican goes. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Peace.